Hey guys, welcome to my fourth video of web scraping with R. In the last three videos, we web scraped IMDb, wrote some code. I'd recommend checking those videos out if you haven't already. But in this video, we're going to be web scraping tables. We could go ahead, let's say we had this data set of cost of living data. We could go and use the selector gadget tool and select all the states to begin with, and then take this CSS tag and make columns for each of these items. But the RBest library actually has a read table built-in function, or HTML table function built in, so we're going to go ahead and use that instead. And it's super easy. All you need to do is figure out the name of the table. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click, inspect, and if I hover over, you can see in the top, actually where the little white box is, it says table hashtag features grid. That's the name that we're going to use this time. So, like before, we've gotten our two libraries, RBest and dplyr. We're gonna set a link. I'm gonna call this col link for cost of living, and it's gonna be equal to our web URL. We're gonna generate the HTML source code by calling the read_html command. And then we're gonna create our table, which is gonna be similar in the sense that it's gonna call the page piped into HTML nodes. And now we're gonna use that table hashtag features grid that pops up. So table hashtag features grid. Gonna pipe this again. And then in before videos we would call HTML text. Now we want to call HTML table. Now this will essentially generate a table for us based on all the text from this table, but it's not exactly, oops, just need to run our code, not exactly what we want yet. So if we open this up, view, call table, it's a list actually inside of the table. So one last thing we need to do is put a period to signify that we want to explicitly call the data that's right before the pipe, and then access index1, which is how we actually extract that list. So we can run this, and now when we view our call table, this is exactly what we want. Super easy, honestly a lot easier than using the selector gadget tool, but it really only works when you have a table on the website. Now, this doesn't always work, and it really doesn't work on Wikipedia sometimes. And Wikipedia is a great source of data, so I'm going to show you real quickly a second example where we grab this table of apples, which is actually huge because there are a ton of different apple species. But all we need to do is, again, create our link variable, which is going to be this Wikipedia link. We're going to read our page. And create the apple table. So before we inspected the element, right click, inspect, and when we hovered over, we got the table hashtag features grid. Here we see table.wikitable.sortable.jQuery table sorter. Now, if we actually use that, I can go ahead and type that up real quick. Wiki page, HTML nodes, and it was table.wikitable.sortable.jQuery table sorter. If we just run this, we actually, oops, made that mistake again. We actually don't get anything. It's a null node set, essentially. If you ever come across this, and it might actually be quite common, it's generally because the HTML source code that we generated here is different than the one that we're receiving on this page. And because this table is sortable, it uses jQuery, which is a JavaScript library. The code is just slightly different, such that we can't directly grab the table using this method. But luckily, it's not super hard to circumvent. We just need to change this back to table, and this will actually give us all the tables on the page. We know that it was the wiki table sortable, So this is kind of the area where there's, not an exact solution. You just kind of have to play around with it. But this is wiki table sortable. We know that this is wiki table sortable. There are some other tables on this page, but you can go ahead and check those other CSS tags to confirm that it's not this one. But once you've done that, we know that we want to extract the second element. So similarly to what we did up here, we'll do a .2, except this time we're only going to use these single brackets because this isn't a list, this is just the second element of the vector. And that will get us the actual individual node, but then from there we need to grab the HTML table, and lastly we need to grab the first element of the list. So I'll just show you what that looks like if we run through them. So this was what got us up to HTML nodes table. If we run up to the second element, we'll just grab the wiki table sortable. If we run up to HTML table, we'll get the actual table, but in the form of a list. You can tell by if we go up, it's going to be very long, but you can tell by if we view the Apple table, this bracket, bracket, 1, bracket, bracket, that signifies that it's a list. So we just need to extract that list, get it into a data frame, and here we go. So this is all the apples on that Wikipedia table. So again, this isn't super hard to do. If you already have the table in the HTML page, it really can be done in a few lines, but it is a little tricky, so just be wary of that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, just feel free to leave those in the comments below, but I'll see you in the next one.